All right, folks, welcome on back here this Monday, August 14th, nearly the odds of August. Great to see and actually see all of our students and members inside our live trading room here this morning. We have Brad, John, Sam, Steve, Grant, Xavier, Leda, Egan. Had a few more of us just a moment ago. Manuel, Margaret, a lot of us actually here joining us here this morning. So great to see all of you there. Great to have all of us back on social, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. A much uglier mug joining you this morning. Of course, Fausto, well-deserved on a week-long vacation. He's actually probably joining us right now, just streaming in on YouTube perhaps, but actually in Bermuda. He's an hour ahead of us right now. It's just after 10 o'clock in the morning for him in Bermuda. So, hey, I hope he enjoys. I hope the family has a great time. Honestly, it's a great time to step away because here we're coming off of earnings season. And not just that, we're in August. So, I think families are like Fausto's, are looking to finish up some vacation time, some summertime with their families and friends alike. Go out there in the Hamptons. Otherwise, you always hear them talk about that too. So, hey, if the market slows down for you here this morning, I will say it was a surprisingly active pre-market Monday for a pre-market morning for a Monday. But outside of that, once you look to make your money, hey, if the life gets sucked out of the market, I think that we all have better things to do than just be watching the grass grow, watching the paint dry here in front of our computers. So this is as good of a day as any to go outside, do some planting, do some gardening, go out on the boat, do whatever you like to do at least. But, I would suggest that once the market begins to slow down. So, hey, you know what? There were a bunch of great trades from this morning, and there were a couple actually just from last week, from Thursday and then into Friday that I do want to cover. A couple of housekeeping notes on top as well. Hey, if you're joining us on both Facebook or just or our social streams or inside our live trading room, of course, tomorrow, Tuesday, I host a live workshop, Traders Talk. So this gives me a great chance to at least mention that. Hey, just scan that QR code on social media right now just to join our live trading room, get the full version of that A to Z, including all of the recordings of our Traders Talk workshop. But that will be tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time. If you have any questions, shoot me over a quick email, josh@ctutrading.com. And then on top of that, we also have, I believe, Jerry from Traders Accounting joining us here at Cyber Trading on Thursday this week. Stay tuned for that. We'll make, a further mention of that later throughout this week, but I'll be doing a follow-up workshop as well right after Jerry from Traders Accounting. So actually very busy week for myself here subbing in for Fausto. But hey, let's actually cover a couple of moves that we had from Thursday, Friday, as well as from this morning here. TSHA, we'll come back to this. But actually a stock also that was moving in pre-market this morning, the GNS, fell more flat after 8 o'clock, but it was actually more from Friday, more from the end of last week. I know Rich put this on the afternoon watch list, just tagging in for myself there. It was trending up perfectly going into the PM meeting back Friday last week. So it ended up breaking over $1. And then really just once you're expecting that break over $1, hey, you're looking for that proverbial big move shortly after, right? But man, this didn't even pull back to $1. It made a slight shake, but then ended up running right back on up, ended up breaking highs, flipping that into support over time and running up even more. So what a phenomenal trade, kind of during what I would consider to be like garbage time on a Friday, not the late afternoon, but more like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on a Friday. You're not really expecting that there. So unfortunately, as good as it looked during our meeting at 2:30, as much as we should have been following it here going into the close, that's when the wheels fell off on this trade. Ended up just dumping off, lower high from there. It's not really called out as a swing trade. So if you ended up holding on and rolling the dice there, congratulations, but that's not really our intent. So it led to a nice little pop early this morning. It's still making lower highs here. So it's not going to be number one on our main watch list for the open here, but still showing good activity. Hopefully it makes that pop sooner than later. If it doesn't, for as much as it broke out on Friday, and then actually, hell, even that, we didn't really call it out back Thursday, then Wednesday this week, but the stock was like, 60 cents. So effectively, it like more than doubled up in price over time. If it starts to make the lower highs, I'd be really careful of a larger crash and shake back down. So we have the GNS trade from Friday more so. DraftKings. What a move on DraftKings that we had back Friday. This is more of a funky story here, actually. So this will take me to Penn National Gaming in just a moment. But what a recovery from Friday that we had on DraftKings. I know a few of us here in our live trading room are very bullish on DraftKings like mid to long term. So they find great value in this bounce here that we had. But it was actually more because of what happened with Penn. crazy chart here on Penn from this week. Penn National Gaming ended up doing some deal with ESPN where they broke off from this big social media company, Barstool Sports. They linked with ESPN. But what happened was they essentially sold Barstool back to its owner for $1, 100 pennies. Why? Well, it's because they had a much better deal with ESPN. They didn't really see as much value in the company Barstool as much longer. So they said, you know what? We have such a good deal now with ESPN. We'll sell it back to you for $1. If you sell the company to anyone else, we'll take 50%. That's like the caveat to it. But the headlines read, they sold it back to the guy for $1. So it pumped up when the initial news came out. Penn National Gaming, like the after hours on Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday, completely came back down the next day, more on a gap fill. And then the following news came out that led to, hey, the Barstool guy bought it back for $1. That's it. Penn made they lost a ton of money on it, if anything. So it led to a crash the following days after here. It might continue to dump off with how sharp it's been moving here. So, that led to a nice little bounce across the other casino gaming stocks. Once that news came out, DraftKings on Friday had a nice move back up, kind of going inverse to Penn. I like them on our side list. They're not really showing great activity here in the pre-market for us so far, but they're definitely on my notepad. At least they're on our side list as a day trade, if anything. We'll look to see if DraftKings could eventually move up higher, right? So I'll do just that. The AAOI, really briefly. This is more from last week, not as much for this morning so far, and not as much from Friday, but more from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week, namely Thursday. This thing just kept going, ended up bouncing off of like 1150, 1175, ran up perfectly up to 13 at first. Then it ended up breaking higher from there, right? Easy to say, but maintained a nice trend. And it was as good of a short squeeze as you could have wanted or could have expected. And well, we say short squeeze because look what happened the following day. Just at the end of this past week, Friday, ended up dropping off as soon as the market opened, ended up breaking lower later on. You'd figure reversal time at 10:30, kept going. So, yeah, it ended up making a steep pullback. And now at this point, looks like it's setting itself up for a move down to 12 again. So, normally with the short squeeze, we tend to see a stock make an explosive pop, whether it be for one day or a series of days over time. But once the volume dies off on that type of trade, it's going to come crashing back down pretty hard. All right, TSHA. Let's jump right to it here, folks. I just saw this popping from the corner of my other screen here, Benzinga Pro. So I just had to speed that up and just go right to this TSHA because I'll tell you what, a short squeeze is what's happening here on TSHA, regardless of whatever news came out. I would assume the stock took a huge hit over a period of time, and it's leading to the shorts to cover. And not just that, but for day traders to look to buy. Yeah, this thing took a huge hit from like 35 or so all the way down to mere pennies. This was a great trade in pre-market. Pablo and I got some good money on this trade after the 8 o'clock move. Ended up getting out. It was like making an ugly shake back down from 138. Thought I was going to sell at 140. It pulled back. I was like, just right at 132. Ended up getting in from like 118. So it flattened out after. Maybe I could have held on a bit longer on the initial move, but ended up flattening out. I felt good with the exit to take some money on a Monday morning. But obviously, as you could see now, making a stronger pop now heading into the market open. This TSHA, definitely going to put this on the main watch list for this morning. But this is a short squeeze. Once the squeeze is finished here, it's going to come crashing back down very hard. It's up big already, 113%. So if you're in this trade or were in this trade and are still in it now, I would look to take the money a lot sooner than later from this point, because normally around 9:15 in the morning, that's where I tend to finish up my pre-market trading if I'm holding on this long to begin with. I got out on this long ago, just more so to kind of focus on the next trade, which there wasn't a next trade. And it was more so to kind of get my gear straight for everyone here. So I would look to sell certainly in terms of time frames, like right now or like 9:15, the utter latest. Allow the stock a chance to breathe and relax, and allow yourself the chance to, breathe and relax. It's a Monday morning here, right? We got all day. We got all week. So, take your money now and build up a nice little cushion to start this morning off with. All right. So TSHA definitely on our watch list to begin. Let's just go through right now. There was one other stock I wanted to mention from last week, APLS. We'll run into it if we do. I'll keep going here. So TMC had popped up just, prior to the meeting beginning. Actually, this one slipped under my radar. I was just in conversation with Pablo after our trade, and all of a sudden just this TMC started to explode. So I didn't want to chase it. I'd missed out on this myself, but ended up pulling back. It broke under the VWAP just before and built a little support, as you could see now, I reckon, off of like 133, 134, 132. Hey, I'm going to put this on our watch list for right now, but it still needs to make higher lows from this point. Just because it popped here doesn't mean it's running back up or breaking new highs after the open. So, if it can't flip the VWAP back into support, I would be pretty careful. All right, we keep it moving. My old friend here, X, US Steel. What's the news on X? Is it just earnings or is there anything else to it? I didn't even check. Play ignorant to the news more often than not. So, how about this? Yeah, a little news out on this, not earnings related. So, US Steel X trading higher after the company rejected a $35 per share acquisition offer from Cleveland Cliffs. Is Cleveland Cliffs CLF? Yeah, they are. Okay. So CLF actually pretty active this morning as well, up a little bit, not as much as X obviously, but trend, good volume. I know the order book will fill in a lot more when it opens up. At 9:30, this will be a penny spread, I'd imagine. I'm going to come back to CLF. I'm going to put X on our main watch list. I would be interested in seeing if X fills the gap on the way down. I wrote that a little earlier in the chat board, just saying, just be a little wary of that. I know the order book is going to fill in more on X after the market opens up. But I wrote right away after that at 8:47, X could be a gap fill short too if the market drops. So more, especially if the market drops, we could see that, gap look to fill. But yeah, either way is a nice little trade here in both directions. If it could build support and break back above these highs here, just over 29, that could lead to a nice continuation. But otherwise, potentially right away on the back, right away on the back, on the way back down. My tongue is tied. All right, we keep it going here though. GNS. I don't think I put this on the main watch list just yet. I was kind of writing it down more so from Friday's move. Now at this point, it's starting to inch back up penny by penny here. So I appreciate that little bounce back more than anything. I'm going to put this on our main list here. We got the TSHA, the GNS, we got X here and TMC so far, about 4 different stocks this morning. All right, so also alongside everything else we did cover on Friday, I don't know if anyone else saw this from Friday afternoon. If you didn't see it Friday, obviously you had to have seen it this morning. AMC down huge this morning, even more from after hours Friday. And then inversely, essentially, the APE stock, the AMC dividend ticker, ended up just going the other way. That is long been the case whenever there's been news tied to AMC and this APE ticker. They go inverse, essentially. So I don't want to talk as if I know the full news report on this. I never like to talk out of pocket. So news that's out here, AMC to increase the total number of authorized shares of their Class A stock, blah, 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 blah. Expects APE to cease trading on August 25th and subsequently be delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. So, led to a little short squeeze just there in the after hours APE Friday, but now it's pulling back. Not too big of a surprise in that regard. So, you know what? As we kind of just juggle the two, heading into the market open, it would be interesting to see if AMC makes a little dead cat bounce, a little squeeze back up. I'm going to put AMC on the main list. I'm not as jumpy to put APE now at this point. Ooh, the hell happened here? ASNS just popped right before this meeting started. Didn't catch it until now. Looks like a pop and drop ultimately at this point. I'll write it down for the side list. ASNS, but keep it away from the main list here for right now. All right, so we're kind of dipping into 5% here at this point. Let me know if there's anything else that looks good on the way up. I'll just jump over to the loser side here, though. MKFG, not really doing much there. All right, so AMC was from the loser side. We caught that one already. And then we'll see if there's anything else looking good, perhaps as a short. This thing's taken a bit of a hit. I'm not going to say any jokes. I'm not that punny this early, and I don't have the balls to make that joke right now. He is on the way down. So what is this? Hawaiian Electric Industries. Oh, well, that's the reason why Hawaiian. My heart goes out, and that's not where I was mentioning. My heart goes out to anyone, of course, in Maui. We had mentioned that just earlier on Friday. Of course, everything going on with Maui and perhaps even the surrounding islands there too, but I know it's more so Maui. This stock taking, I guess, a bit of a hit. You'd figure there'd be a couple equities dropping because of that, but we didn't really see them on Friday. So big drop off on this Hawaiian Electric Industries. Once again, that joke was not in reference to Hawaii, but going to put on our watch list right now as a short. Hopefully the order book fills in on this trade. That's what would make this more tradable. You might say, wow, what a bad situation going on in Maui. And I couldn't agree any further, obviously. It's really wild. There was a small fundraiser that was started like less than a week ago, and they raised like over $1.5 million so far. I just saw it on Instagram, just within mere days, just grew up to be that much. And I think their expected target was just like 100,000. So it goes to show that the power of social media and how awesome, some people are. So I think like over $1.5 million raised through that small fundraiser. Anyway, getting back to just kind of talking about catastrophe and what happens with that, unfortunately. And, for us here, it is fortunate where any events create opportunity, right? So if you recall years back, and I know I'm running on limited time now before the market opens up, years back, we had the wildfires in California, and it was with that electric company, PG&E, back in late 2018, took a huge hit. Well, of course, it was a great short then, but it actually set up for a nice little bounce opportunity in the coming weeks and months after. So with saying that, it's not going to be a great bounce right away, but it eventually will be. Follow the trend first, and then this could be a nice move over time. Not at all-time lows. I'd say a little bounce point, pretty much where it's at now, right around like 23 or slightly under. Then if it breaks that, then perhaps you're talking around like just over 20. All right, so let's see if there's anything else here. It'd be funny if the Barbie movie came out right around this time, if there was a she stock that was up big because of Barbie. That's my joke with that. How about that? All right, what else we got here? If there's anything else looking good. FTRE not doing too much. Got really kind of skimpy losers list. Nothing else really looking too good. Trading a lot of volume here, and that's fine. TSLL, Tesla ETF, actually taking a bit of a hit right now. So we'll jump to Tesla. Tesla's taking a bit of a hit, right? Made the switch from energy drink to coffee once again, and my mouth is running super dry. That's the reason why there, folks. But with that, yeah, Tesla taking a bit of a hit right now. And perhaps you could trade TSLL on the way down, just less expensive. And you could also trade the puts if you're following Tesla on the way down, at least. But yeah, all right, I'll add that for right now. Let's see if there's anything else looking good, folks. Just let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you'd want me to check out or look at. Nothing really else standing out here on the Benzinga scans here on the gainers or loser side. Said we'd go back to a couple trades. GNS I wrote down on the side list. I promoted that to the main list already. Looks good for now. CLF moving up a little bit more, trading more volume even here at this point. So I'm going to promote CLF to our main list. Nice move up. That can go up if X drops and fills the gap. That could be an interesting little inverse play. And then ASNS, I'm going to pass on this. I'm going to pass on that there. All right, from Leda asking, what's up with PayPal? What is up with PayPal? Not really up percentage-wise a whole lot. So if there's any news, it's kind of weak. No, well, I guess not really too little news. It should be pretty interesting news. Intuit's Alex Chriss, who I'm not familiar with, is now named PayPal's new CEO. So it looks like new board member news there, new CEO member, Alex Chriss from Intuit. So it led to a small little pop-up. A little expensive, at least for us normally. So it's a good shout from Leda. I'm going to write this down on our side list. Brian asking about Ape. We talked about the Ape trade already. I think that if AMC moves up, that Ape trade's going to drop. And if Ape drops, we're not going to be able to really find a good opportunity on it. So Michael saying HST and Larry HST alongside the Hawaiian Electric. So this isn't really trading any good volume, though. It's like up 2%, but it's only trading 250 shares. So there's nothing really on this trade as of right now. If there's other stocks that are going to be, affected by what's going on with Maui, then we'll look to find them on the gainers list, the losers list. They'll be trading enough volume for it to catch our eyes, if anything. All right, folks. I think that we're going to wrap up for right now. We are getting pretty darn close to the market open. T minus 8 minutes out until the market opens up. So, hey, once again, Fausto will be away on vacation all throughout this week. He might pop in at one point throughout the later portion of the week inside our live trading room, but he probably shouldn't. The guy deserves a long week vacation with his family. So I know he's out there in Bermuda enjoying his time, though. And, hey, I suggest for all of us out here, if not to make a trip to Bermuda, then to certainly step away from your desk, from your computer, as soon as the volume kind of dries off this morning. Once you have some good cushion money, if you already have it, great. And we are going to look to have some fun here for the next hour. But once you get that feel where the market's kind of losing that momentum, losing that volume, don't even force it, folks. Don't even think about it. Just step away, finish up, and then come back at 2:30. Then we'll see if there's anything moving out there. All right. Hey, folks, for all of us here inside our live trading room, best of luck trading heading into the market open. For any of our trial members, might I suggest, if anything, just look to observe. Don't look to trade anything yourself just yet. You might be sitting here as a trial member. Hey, I have 30 years experience doing this. Maybe not day trading, maybe with just kind of investing in long term, right? But if this is your first real go around with day trading stocks, we do not want you to be risking any of your capital, any of your hard-earned money. If anything, we suggest for you to give a call to our office, and one of our education advisors will be able to walk you through this trial membership, show you everything that you need to know about this room, the workshops that are included, etc. I just wrote the office phone line there inside the chat board for all of us. Now, if you're on social media, hey, we'll be back later on this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time just for our afternoon meeting. If you're interested in continuing the audio commentary with myself and my colleague Rich throughout the day, just scan the QR code as it's on the top left of the screen there. If you're fancy with your phone, just scan that QR code. We look forward to having you just throughout this week inside our live trading room. All right. But again, for all of us here, hey, we'll be back just no matter what at 2:30 Eastern later on today. Take care.